Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Learn with Sahira. In this video, we are going to see the explanation of the poem The Felling of the Banyan Tree from the language English of degree first year second semester. In this video, I am going to give you the clear explanation of the summary for the poem The Felling of the Banyan Tree. So watch the video till end, and if you are new to our channel Learn with Sahira, subscribe it for more videos and don't forget to share this video with your friends too. And if you want the notes of all the subjects and languages, whatever you are having in your group, you can get all subject and languages important question and answers notes which are easy, simple, and clear to understand. If you want the notes, you can text me on my Instagram. My Instagram ID is Learn with Sahira. Okay, text me there. I will be giving you the access for all subject and languages notes, including English, second language, BCS or EVS non-core subject or any other subject. Okay, you will be getting all subject notes. But note, payment is must. I repeat, payment is must. Okay, so keeping this aside, let us get started with the summary of the felling of the banyan tree from degree first year second semester. Okay, so let me zoom it. Okay, so I think you all know how to write a summary. Already, I have uploaded a video regarding the process or the way to write a summary in order to score full marks in summary. If you have not watched that video, I will be providing that video link in this video description. You can watch that video. Okay, so first we will be writing about the poet in a summary. Whatever the question they might ask you from the poem, The Felling of the Banyan Tree, you have to write the same thing, the summary, whatever you have learned from this lesson. Whatever I'm explaining you in this video, if you listen to me carefully, no need to give a reading to the summary also. You will be perfect with the summary just like that. So listen to me carefully and watch the video till end without skipping. Okay. So whatever the question they might ask you from this poem, you have to write the summary. Okay. First thing we will be mentioning about the poet. Okay, in brief, in bold letters you have to write, if possible you write in capital letters. Okay, about the poet. Who is the poet of this poem? He is Dilip Chitre. He is the person who have written this poem. Okay, so you keep this in your mind that if you are writing a poem summary, you have to mention about the poet. If you are writing short story or prose summary, you have to write about the author or about the writer. Here we are writing about the summary of the felling of the banyan tree poem, right? So we will be mentioning about the poet Dilip Chitre. So let us see about Dilip Chitre. Dilip Chitre was a famous Indian poet, translator and filmmaker. So definitely the person who writes the poem is known as poet. So he is a Indian poet. Okay, Indian poet who have taken the birth in India itself. Okay, so next he is translator. Translator is nothing but a person who translate or who converts one language work into the other language work. Just assume if the felling of the banyan tree is in Telugu or in Sanskrit, Arabic, any other language, Dilip Chitra is the person who will change it into the English or any other language like that. And he is also a filmmaker. Okay, so he wrote in both English and Marathi. He is Indian poet, but he have written in English as well as in Marathi. The poem which we are seeing is in English, right? So that is why we are saying that English and Marathi. He have written many works in English and Marathi. Okay, then his poems often talk about city life, nature, relationships, and identity. So whatever it happens in the city, or how the life will be in city, what goes on in the city, or how the nature is there, or what is nature, or how the relationships or bonds will be there between people or identity. So these are the main themes you can say. Okay, if you want to mention themes of Dilip Chitre or the work or the poems of Dilip Chitre, they will mostly talk about city life, nature, relationships, and identities. He believed in expressing deep feelings in simple words. Only simple words will be there, like in daily basis or in daily language, how we use simple words. In that simple words only he will be writing the complete poem, but they will be having deep meanings. Okay, symbolic and figurative poems will be there in Dilip Chitre's poems. Okay, now after completing about the poet, we will be going to about the poem. This is the next step in your summary. After writing about the poet, you have to write about the poem. What is the poem name? If you want to mention inside the felling of the banyan tree, you can. If you want to leave, you can just directly write about the poem, okay? Because we are writing the answer of the felling of the banyan tree itself now, so no need to mention. But if you want to mention, that will be really very good. So this poem is autobiographical. Autobiographical means what, ma? The person who says about himself. So, in this poem, the person, who is the poet who is writing this poem, he is Dilip Chitre, right? So, Dilip Chitre in this poem, he is saying about his own feelings or his own thoughts or his own experience. Okay, so this poem is autobiographical. This is not any fictional story, fictitious story. No, it is not. It is autobiographical. The poet himself showing his experience or his feelings. Okay, it tells us about cutting down a huge banyan tree that stood for many years near the poet's house. So, near Dilip Chitre's house, there was a huge banyan tree, and once upon a time it was cutted. And after cutting down the tree, how the poet felt, that poet will be saying the complete information or the complete experience in this poem. Okay, the poem shows a conflict between nature and human development. Yes, we are developing, getting developed again and again. Yes, so our nature or our surroundings are getting affected with that, right? We are thinking about ourselves, we are thinking about the development, but we are not thinking about the nature or our surroundings. So there is a very big conflict between human development and nature. Okay, it also speaks about the pain of losing roots and leaving behind childhood memories. You just assume a banyan tree, this will be uh, standing from really many years, right? So the poet Dilip Chitre's complete childhood went into this huge banyan tree, means playing with the friends near the banyan tree, or sitting in the shadow of the banyan tree, or being around the banyan tree. So the complete childhood of the Dilip Chitre went near the banyan tree. But on a particular time when that banyan tree cutted, you can just feel like how Dilip Chitre felt. पूरा बचपन गुजरा दिलीप चित्रे का, अभी वो ट्री को कट कर दिए तो सब कुछ याद आता, या तो ही विल बी फीलिंग सैड लाइक entire childhood was behind this huge banyan tree, right? So you can write these points in about the poem. You have to subscribe our channel Learn with Sahir on YouTube for notes, explanation, important questions, paper patterns, presentations, and more. So make sure you subscribe our channel Learn with Sahira. Now let us go with the poem summary. Okay, you can mention summary, or you can write, or you can mention summary of the poem and you can write. Okay, in the poem The Felling of the Banyan Tree, the poet Dilip Chitri shares a powerful memory from his childhood. Okay, as I said you, childhood memory is there. Okay. His family decided to move from Baroda to Bombay, and as part of this move, they wanted to cut down all the trees around their old house. Okay. So, what happened here is Dilip Chitre's family, they used to live in Baroda, but after some time what they have decided to move from Baroda to Bombay, so they are moving to a city. So now, because of which they want to cut all the trees around their old house. They are having the house in the Baroda, right, where they are living. So the trees whatever are surrounding near their house, they want to cut. The family decided to cut all the old trees, not only banyan tree, all other trees also, whatever are there, they have decided to cut all those trees, okay, including a huge Asian banyan tree that had stood there for over 50 years. Okay, including that banyan tree also, which was stood there for over 50 years, more than 50 years, that banyan tree was there. So, but the family decided to cut that banyan tree also. This tree was not just any tree, it was symbol of tradition, memories, deep roots, both literally and emotionally. As I said you, a very big symbolic you can say here. Okay, so the poet remembers how strongly his grandmother opposed cutting down the banyan tree. For her, the tree was sacred and connected to Indian beliefs and culture. She believed it was a sin to cut it and it should be left untouched. However, her emotional and religious objections were ignored, and the decision was made to remove the tree to prepare for the family's relocation. Okay, so here, grandmother of Dilip Chitre. she opposed to cut down the banyan tree. So she believed that it is a sin to cut down the banyan tree. So most of the people think like that, right? The trees are really very sacred, especially banyan tree is very sacred. So what grandmother used to do, she used to oppose every time, like you should not cut down the trees, main importantly not banyan tree because it is a sin. ओके गुनाह है एक झाड़ को कट करना शी यूज टू से लाइक दैट ओके एंड शी यूज टू से लाइक इट शुड बी अनटच्ड मीन्स नो वन शुड टच दैट बनियन ट्री बट व्हाट हैपेंड he her emotional and religious objections were ignored लाइट ले लिए वो ग्रैंडमदर को लाइट ले लिए उनके बातों को लाइट ले लिए एंड दे हैव प्रिपेयर्ड एंड दे हैव प्लान्ड टू कट डाउन दैट ट्री ओके when the workers arrived, they began chopping down the thick, heavy branches of the banyan tree. The poet, still young at that time, watched helplessly as the massive tree, full of life and history, was slowly destroyed. He describes how it took them 7 days to cut it completely and how the scene looked like a battle between man and nature. The roots of the tree were so deep that they had gone into the earth for miles and it took tremendous effort to pull them out. So, once the workers arrived, they started to chop down the tree. Workers आने के बाद वो tree को cut करना वो लोग start करे. Heavy, बहुत बड़े heavy branches are really very big and heavy branches are there. You just assume a tree which is standing there over 50 years, from 50 years, you just assume how big that banyan tree is. So these people, the workers started to cut down and it took 7 days, literally 7 days to cut that completely. You just assume how big that tree is. 50 years से एक ट्री वहां पे ठहर के है मतलब वो कितना बड़ा है आप लोग assume कर लो. Okay, so it is really very big that it took 7 days to cut it. Okay, and the roots of the tree were going deep and deep into the earth, so it was really very hard to remove all the roots from the earth and it was a very big effort which was kept by all the workers to chop this great big banyan tree. Okay, and here the poet Dilip Chitre was still young and he was standing just like that. He was helpless, like ये भी नहीं कर सकते वो भी नहीं कर सकते. So he was just silent and he was watching that scene. Okay, whatever it is happening, he was watching there. And then the poet expresses deep sadness and shock at the felling of the tree. He compares the event to a kind of violence, almost as if a living being was killed. He had never seen a tree fall before, and watching this massive, strong tree be defeated by human hands left a lasting impact on him. So ये बहुत बड़ा एक सदमा दे दिया वो पोएट दिलीप चित्र को. He was literally in shock. He was sad that the banyan tree was fell down. It was chopped and it was removed completely. It was destroyed completely. So here we can see that there is a battle between man and nature. एक लड़ाई है man, human being और nature के बीच में, that for our development we are destroying the nature. यहाँ पे अपन कितना भी बचाने की कोशिश करो कोई ना कोई आकर डिस्ट्रॉय कर रहा. सो इट इज really very sad and he is really very shocked that the banyan tree have fell down, and it is like a violence between human beings and the nature. Okay, it was like a human being was killed. उतना बड़ा ट्री, उतनी बड़ी ट्री को कट कर दिए. So it is like a human being was killed. He is comparing that tree with a human living being. Okay, it is comparing, yes sir, trees are living beings, right? So it is like a human being or living being was cut up. So it left a lasting impact on him. Okay, he was really in a shock. He was shocked, completely shocked. So here, through the detailed memory, the poem speaks about the emotional connection we have with nature, especially with places and objects from our childhood. It also highlights the growing conflict between nature and modern development. The banyan tree becomes a powerful symbol of roots, memories, and belonging, and cutting it down represent how people sometimes destroy important parts of their own past in the name of progress. Yes or no? Here we can see that this poem speaks about emotional connection. Yes, here there is a connection between that tree and Dilip Chitre. Yes, the poet and nature, because that poem, that tree there, it was from over 50 years. You just assume that the entire childhood of Dilip Chitre went into that tree. Okay, sitting behind that tree or playing around that tree or sitting down in the shadow of the tree. So the complete childhood of Dilip Chitre went into that tree. But now, after a period of time, human beings or the people, their people only, their family only have destroyed that complete tree just in the name of a progress. Okay. So this can be said in the summary. So we have completed the summary. कुछ भी नहीं है. दिलीप चित्र के घर के पास एक ट्री था. उसको कट करने की वो लोग ठान लिए क्योंकि वो लोग बड़ौदा छोड़ के बॉम्बे जा रहे थे. So what happened? They have called the workers and they have set the workers to chop down the tree. लेकिन 7 days लग गए वो ट्री को कट करने के लिए. वहां पे दिलीप चित्रे ठहर के ही थे लेकिन वो कुछ नहीं कर सके. He was helpless that he can't do anything, right? So he was shocked and he was sad that the big tree was cutted down. It felt like a human being or a living being was killed. So here, in the name of progress or human development, we are destroying our Mother Earth. We are destroying the nature and our surroundings, which will impact, which will affect our future generation. Okay. So here, what the poet is trying to say is there is a conflict or there is a war or there is a battle, there is a fight or there is a violence between human and nature. Okay, in name of progress, in name of development, the human beings are totally destroying the nature. You can write in your own words. So here you can see the conclusion. The main message is the poem shows how human progress destroys nature. We have already talked about this. It reflects the emotional pain of leaving roots both natural and cultural. Okay, as grandmother used to feel like that tree is really very sacred and it is sin to cut down that tree. After listening to the grandmother also, they ignored the grandmother and they have cut it down the tree. You just assume how that scene was. It tells us to respect nature and not to forget where we come from. Okay, it is really very important that we have to respect nature and we have come from the nature. So if nature is not there, we people will not exist on our mother earth, right? So nature should be there in order to be happy and be healthy. The poet shares his personal loss, but it also comes a universal truth for all of us. Yes or no, it is a universal truth. Not only at a particular place on the complete mother earth we can see this happening. So this is what we have seen in the summary of the felling of the banyan tree. So whatever you have listened to me or whatever you have seen in this video, you can write in your own words. Need not to write the complete summary as it is. You can also mention your own points and you can prolong the answer. So you try to write about the poem and about the poet one side, then write summary both the sides and conclude it. Okay, at least 3 sides if you write, that is completely fine. Okay, so this summary whatever I'm showing on the screen is enough to write 3 sides. Even it can go 4 to 5 sides, but try to write 3 sides. Short and sweet should be there. Okay, deep meaning should be there, but it should be shorter in order to manage your time and utilize your time properly. So if you are having any further doubts, let me know in the comment section. And for the notes, if you want the notes from the notes which I'm explaining you, if you want these notes, let me know on my Instagram. Okay, learn with Sahira. Text me there. I will be giving you the notes. But note payment is must. Okay. So see you all in the next video. Bye bye.